A little bit more.
Oh!
Obviously, I'm going for monkey fish.
Do I have a choice?
No. I stole it.
Okay. Old pendulous breast herself.
Chase you through a cave. I know you do outside.
And we're going to talk about how wrong you are after this.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Monsters Lounge. I'm Jeni.
And I'm Tressa.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tressa, I learned about, and I couldn't put an image up because I don't understand StreamYard or how it works if we're streaming from your thing or my thing. Anyway, it's a kind of serval cat. That's a melanistic serval cat.
I'm out.
Oh. Anyway, the thing's cool. So I'm just saying, look it up and find it.
I'm good.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, did you hear about that meteor in Ohio today?
Who's a what's it?
A meteor hit Ohio.
Oh my God.
today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Do you have a clip of it? Because that would be cool.
No, I didn't think about
Okay.
it until just a second.
Beautiful. Wonderful news. But it did. It looked like so apocalyptic.
Yeah, because that's where we live now.
Well, yeah. But anyway, the meteor, there are a bunch of people caught it on camera too. It looks super, super cool.
Yep.
Yep. That was a good one. I like that one. We are coming out of the gate hot.
It's so hot. Yeah.
Listen, there's not a lot to talk about because I kind of just want to get to our guest because we have a delightful guest today. Delightful both in storytelling capability, and it's always fascinating to listen to him. But also, he's just a cool dude. And what? Why are you laughing at me?
Nothing. I was just thinking about things in the green room. Go ahead.
Okay, that's which you can see actually, and
Yeah,
I cannot,
yeah,
so I have no
mhm,
idea what's going
yeah.
on over there. But anyway, yeah, Mrs. Face, we have not seen him in a long time. But Jeff Belanger is here. He is a well-known folklorist, author, and media personality who specializes in legends, ghosts, and the paranormal. It's an Emmy-nominated, and I almost got there. He's an Emmy-nominated host, writer, and producer of the New England Legends TV series and podcast, and has written more than a dozen books that have been published internationally.
Oh,
And we're going to talk to him today
international.
about his shadow zine, which is also really, really cool. Please help me welcome Jeff.
Okay.
Thanks.
Happy
my
St. Patrick's Day.
goodness,
Top of
you
the
look-
morning to you.
You look so
It's
bored
not
on
morning.
Yes. Can I edit my name now that I'm already in here or no?
I don't know. You can try.
Yeah,
Oh
you
well,
can give it a shot. You can try it out.
that would be cool. Wait, can
All
I
right.
try this?
We should all
How
sink
have you
into
been? Oh, there we go.
we should all sink into silence as this is occurring.
No,
which
it's fine.
is
Yeah,
my
I got it.
immediate reaction.
No, I'm riveted. Oh, it's Jeff Belanger.
Hi, top of the morning to you. We're
That
all
is a
Irish
good-
today, we lassie.
Is that
Change
accurate?
yours too.
Fine.
You could all be O Slater and O Monroe.
Oh, good Lord. That means extra silence while I try to figure it out.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Look, whatever. We should have coordinated this earlier. Too
We
late.
really do.
Yeah, we were busy talking about other things. That's fine.
Yeah, that's good.
Like how Kiss isn't that great. They're very overrated.
Oof.
Wow, you just lost half your audience.
Yeah.
Oh,
Immediately.
Let's work on the other half now.
I'm watching it happen right now.
Yeah, they're
Everyone's
just
leaving.
boop, 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 boop. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Listen.
fun. Yeah.
Oh, I was
Wait,
just
this-
gonna quote Marilyn Monroe, but go ahead.
Oh, no. When I got married, I was very unhappy with the idea of taking somebody else's last name.
Mhm.
And I thought, what a marvelous opportunity for us both to get a new last name.
Yes.
Yes.
My go-to was going to be the Osauruses,
You're that old?
spelled out like that.
Burn.
Have you heard me talk? Yeah. Yes, I am. I
Yeah, I know.
am.
Yeah.
I am. I am constantly clutching my pearls.
You're
I'm an
so
old
old. Your
lady.
last name was Osaurus.
Mhm.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. That's it.
Well, it's good talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a nice
How did it
show.
go? How do you think the show went?
Oh,
Yeah,
it was great. I
badly.
think that everyone was.
Yeah. Good.
Horribly.
Oh, well.
Listen, I think we both want to talk about your latest issue of the Shadow Zine and time travel. You up for that?
This old thing,
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll.
that one.
time travel. Have you ever time traveled before?
It depends on the definition, I suppose.
I was immediately going to think substance-wise, I feel like perhaps.
Okay, fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, arguably we're time traveling right now at a breakneck speed of 1 second per second.
Ooh.
However, you've been on
Mhm.
commercial flights, right?
Mhm.
So you have dilated time. The time moves at a different rate when you're on a commercial flight than it does on the ground. We're talking very minuscule fractions of a second, but measurable. And so the big question is like, and this was my thought, right? Could time travel explain absolutely everything paranormal, from ghosts to Loch Ness monsters to Bigfoot to UFOs to aliens and everything in between? That was
Elaborate.
sort of the idea. And I live in a state where marijuana is legal. I don't know why I felt that should
Oh,
be mentioned, but anyway,
That
that seems like two separate things, but
like a
okay.
disclosure
it
of some
seems like two
sort.
separate things,
Yeah.
but somehow I think it's related. Anyway, so the idea is like, what if all that stuff makes sense somewhere on the timeline, right? Ghosts are the
Right.
most obvious, right? Ghosts made sense. You know, if you see a Civil War soldier, that made sense in 1860s. It doesn't make sense now, but it's here. Bigfoot, Loch Ness monster might have made sense 2 million, 5 million years ago, but not necessarily today. And aliens, to me, that's the one that's the most interesting, right? Whenever you see like the typical gray alien, they're always depicted as so human-like. Why do they have a head with eyes in the front and little nose and a little mouth and arms and legs, and they stand upright? Like, we look the way we look because we evolved on this planet with its amount of gravity this close to the sun, and that's why we are upright and look the way we look. If we evolved on a planet that was 5 times bigger, we might be like really low to the ground and just like amorphous blobs, right? I mean, that's because this planet. So why do they look so human? And I've always thought, I don't think we're alone in the universe. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Of course,
Right.
I'm sure there's other life out there, but why would they come here? Right? What is here on Earth? Who would have a vested interest in us? Who would care other than observation? But I don't know. Don't you have more entertaining things to see? You know what I mean?
I always thought of
I
us as
mean,
kind of like a
scientists.
zoo, right? Like,
Well, sure, but it's a
like,
long way to go.
I mean, scientists. How far have we gone just to look at junk? Same thing.
Mars. That's how far
That's
we've gone.
what we're
Well,
capable of.
Right. But that's what we're capable of. You're right. I get it. If we could zip across somewhere and observe some like knuckle dragging creatures that are like, you know, thousands or even millions of years behind
Right.
us in evolution, sure, I'm sure we would look. But you have to
I love-
realize to land and to step outside would be so very dangerous. Even
Yeah.
if you're like, oh, the oxygen levels are just the same as Earth, the nitrogen levels are just the same as Earth, you have no idea what bacteria is totally normal and fine for them,
Mhm.
but would kill you in a heartbeat, or what bacteria you carry that is totally harmless to you, but would kill an entire planet in minutes if it was unleashed, right? I mean, I went to Africa for a couple of weeks years ago when I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. I couldn't drink the water. I couldn't even brush my teeth with it because there's certain bacteria in that water that would make me sick. And if I moved there, I would just have to get accustomed to it. That's on our own planet,
Right.
right? Like, imagine a whole other world. So who has a vested interest in us more than us? And I just wonder, are aliens like what we're supposed to look like, you know, maybe 500,000 or 1 million years into the future, or 2 million years in the future? So the idea of time travel to me is just, it's such a mind bender, right? Because physics says it's not impossible.
Right.
There's nothing in physics that says you can't do it. But if you could do it, should you do it? And then you get into like the paradoxes, which are just amazing, right? So one of my favorite paradoxes, the grandfather paradox, or
Mhm.
grandmother if you prefer. If you could go back in time and kill your grandmother before she ever had any children, what would happen? And that is, of course, the paradox, right? Well, you obviously didn't kill her because you were born. And if you did do it, then you would have never been born. And here's the problem. If you think of time as a straight line that goes forever in the past and forever in the future, then time travel just isn't for you. But if you could grasp onto the idea of a multiverse, the idea that there are infinite possible universes out there, then time travel becomes absolutely possible and full of wonder and mystique.
Sure. I
Okay.
mean, because every little decision that you make changes the course
Exactly.
and springs a whole new possible universe, right?
Absolutely. You walking down a street, and at the end of the street, you can go to the right or go to the left. You decide to
Mhm.
go to the left, there's a whole other universe where you went to the right. And that's just little old you making one teeny tiny decision in one little part of your day. And then you multiply that by how many people on Earth, how many sentient creatures on Earth, all making little decisions that would have a drastically different outcome. Who knows how far down the road? The butterfly effect, right? This was a Ray
Right.
Bradbury short story. Hunters could go back in time and they could hunt dinosaurs for
Mhm.
like an exorbitant fee. But the
haven't read
rule
that in
was these
years.
dinosaurs had been pre-screened, right? These dinosaurs were
Yeah.
going to die today. So when you hunt and kill that dinosaur, you're not affecting anything because it was going to die today anyway.
Right.
And then in one part of the story, spoilers, a
Yeah.
hunter steps off the trail and steps on a butterfly and kills
Yeah.
it. It seems totally inconsequential at the time. It's just a bug. But when they go back to the present day, everything's different because that bug was going to be a meal for a critter that would have been, and millions of years later, everything's all messed up. So those are some of like the sort of mind-bending paradoxes. But a guy named Schrodinger came up with a thought experiment where he was sort of mocking. He was really mocking the
Mhm.
theoretical physicists who said, particles behave differently when they're observed as opposed to not observed, right? And so Schrodinger came up with this experiment with a cat, where a cat's placed in a box and it's light proof, soundproof, airtight. Assume there's enough air in there for an hour for the cat. And there's a molecule and it's got a 50-50 chance of disintegrating. If it disintegrates, it's going to release a little bit of radioactivity that's going to trigger a device that will release a chemical that will kill the cat. The cat will be
Mhm.
dead at the end of 1 hour. There's a 50-50 chance of that happening. And at the end of the hour, there's a 50-50 chance that it's alive. And so at the end of 1 hour, the question Schrodinger asks is the cat alive or dead? And the correct answer is it is both. It is in both equal states of being. It is alive and it is dead, and it will remain that way until it's observed. And Schrodinger said this thought experiment as like a gag to more or less make fun of the theoretical physicists. And they were like, yes, you get it. You get it. And he's like, I get what? What are you talking about?
That's
This
what I
poor
meant.
cat. Like, what do you mean I get it? And so you open the box and you see the cat's alive. And that means the cat being dead state has just collapsed and gone away. And if you
Okay.
open the box and the cat is dead, then the alive state has gone away. You have observed it and now it's a thing. And boom, the universe is now set on a new course. Whereas before the universe had two paths, cat alive, cat dead. Now it's got one once it's observed. And thus the multiverse. And
That's
I know
super
the
interesting.
Go ahead.
Wait, I know, because I have a question that's
Yeah.
very important that I'm gonna ask for a answer and based in fact and whatever. It's mostly theoretical anyway. So if you're in this sort of multiverse thing,
Yeah.
right, and you make the decision to turn right instead of
Yes.
left, does that then universe with the left, I don't know what I'm doing with this with my
Yeah.
hands, guys, but that universe with the left decision that collapses?
Right. Yes.
Huh.
Yeah.
'Cause
Crazy,
in
right?
my head, it's like a spider web where there's all these sorts of different paths, but those things are still occurring.
Right. And so the idea is it's infinite. And if you think of them as soap bubbles, right? So think about how soap bubbles touch each other. And
Yeah.
sometimes they float and sometimes they bounce into each other and they do all kinds of things, but that their own little multiverse, each one, and it's infinite, which means there is an entire planet out there with nothing but a billion clones of Tressa hopping up and down on one foot wearing a purple nightgown.
Oh, and they are so
Yeah.
mad. They're so
Yeah,
mad.
that's all they're doing, just
Always.
jumping up and down on one foot. That's a whole universe.
Mad about
Like
it.
just that, because you can conceive it, and if the possibilities are infinite, that is one of the infinite possibilities. I know. So
I mean-
if we've got the multiverse, it means you can go back in time and kill your grandmother, no problem, other than, you know, all the emotional issues and baggage that you're going to have
Yeah, it seems like
associated with that.
seems like a weird kind of desire, but okay.
The second
you
you
met
kill
my
your grandmother, the universe splits. There is the universe where you never were born, you never existed.
Yes.
And there's the universe where you came from, where she was fine and you know, got married, had kids. Eventually you were born, she made you cookies, and everything was the same.
Nope.
So you've just changed an alternate universe. You didn't change the one you came from once
Okay.
you kill grandma before she had kids.
All right, so we've
I like
solved
that
that
on
problem
this.
in time travel.
Right. It's going to
Yes.
get worse. Ready?
Oh,
Here's one of my
yes,
favorites.
please.
So here's another
Yeah.
paradox. And this one is my very favorite. It's a future time travel paradox. Let's pretend I have a time machine and I can go forward in time, like let's say 5 years, just 5 years. And I go forward and I go to a bookstore and I see that there is a new best-selling book out there that has outsold Harry Potter and the Bible combined. And they just bought the movie rights for $1 trillion billion. And I buy the
Wow.
book. I know it's a lot. I buy the book and I bring it back to present day and I hand it to my present day self and I say, here you go, buddy, payday. And then I go and I take the book and I go to my computer and I type every word over, word for word, submit it to my agent who says, this is brilliant. I know just who to send it to. It gets picked up. It gets put out there it under, you know, my name, and it sells 1 billion copies and I'm the wealthiest person on earth. My question to you is, who wrote the book?
Yeah. Just like the Bible.
Who wrote the book? No, seriously, go ahead.
It would,
Let's hear
it would have been you. You got
No,
to.
I didn't write the book. I plagiarized
No.
every word. I'm not responsible for a single word in there. I did not write it. My name's on it. I stole the book.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
true.
You stole it. So
But
yeah,
who
it would
wrote
still
it?
be the other person.
No, the other person didn't think of it yet. That was years in the future.
Okay.
I know.
It's good. It's
It
really
starts to
good.
hurt, right?
It does. Yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, but who?
Okay. I know. Here's another one.
I know.
Ready? I love these. I adore
Okay,
these.
I
Yes.
love these things so much. I have to 100% confess this thing though. Like I get so quiet, especially talking to you, with people who have the ability to more rapidly wrap their mind around like things like this than I do, because then I just go into my brain and I'm like, you're such a dummy. What's going
No,
on?
first of all, I spend a lot of time thinking about this and sort of like uncovering these things. So
Well, you
I
know
have
what?
a big head start on you.
Before
Like-
we hear about more things that you think about, let's take a quick break.
Oh,
Have you been feeling called to explore your intuitive gifts and deepen your spiritual practice? Then Pathways to Spirit was created for you. Sarah Lemos has been teaching Pathways to Spirit for over 16 years. And in that time, she's watched hundreds of students grow into their gifts with confidence and clarity. This isn't just about learning tools. It's about understanding how your energy works and how to use it with intention. Over 6 months, you'll learn about your own intuitive abilities and how they show up, along with many esoteric tools and practices to help explore your potential. But this course is about more than just learning. It's about embracing your sensitivity and living your best life. Register now at mediumsarahlemos.com. It's time to uncover your gifts and abilities. Are you ready to join this extraordinary journey?
Oh,
we lost Tressa
I
Slater.
know. She went away. This is terrible. Oh, she really went away.
Yeah. Oh,
No, she's kind of back.
I don't know why you guys can't see me, or I
That's
can't see me.
well, yeah. That's all
maybe
right
you
though. We
ceased
can
to
hear.
exist.
It's like you're speaking from
You
the
just
nether.
jumped out of the multiverse.
Oh,
See how I brought that back?
yeah. Good job.
I know. Thanks.
I mean, what was the next thing? The one that
Okay.
made you clutch your hands in front of your face like a small child.
Okay. So I love all this stuff, and it's just thought experiments, right?
Right.
I've read like Stephen Hawking's book, Brief History of Time, and like I was just consuming tons of books on time travel and the notion of it. And I love the idea of some of these paradoxes. So here's another one that I think is just brilliant, right? So play along with me if you don't mind. Remember that time, Jeni, when
Yes.
you were in that burning building and
Sure.
and you couldn't get out. She's
Sure.
back. Oh, the color's awful. So you couldn't get out of the burning building and you're calling for help and you punch a hole through this little square of glass and you're screaming for help. But the keys are outside. The keys to the locked building are outside, and you're scared. This is it. You look like you're going to be a goner. And then someone throws the keys through the hole, and you're able to unlock the door, get outside to safety, and you're going to be just fine. But you can't find the person who saved your life. And
Right.
you're grateful. And years and years and years go by, and you say, all right, time travel's invented. I'm going to go back to that day because I'll never forget it. I should have died, but someone saved my life. I'm going to go back to that day, find the person, and thank them. And so you go back in time and you see the burning building from the outside and you're looking around for your savior and you see a hole get punched through the glass and you hear Jeni screaming, help me, help me. And you
Mhm.
see the keys outside on the table and you're looking around and you're like, dear God, if I don't do something, she's going to die. I'm going to die. You grab the keys, you throw them through the glass and you're like, I got to get out of here because I can't explain this once she comes outside.
I like that one a lot.
I know. You're like, wait, but I had to live to save myself, but I saved myself to live. It's a paradox.
Yeah. Yeah, I
All
like
right.
that one a lot. That one's really good.
Listen, you're both heathens, so I wanted to read to you from the
Thank
Bible.
you.
Can we do that?
Please.
Yes. I mean, Tressa might burst into flames,
Yeah.
but I'm still
crying
kind
to
of,
my mom.
who knows?
Why is it that holy water burns so much? So
People put their hands in there.
I know that's a lot of germs. So the Bible is an interesting book, no question. In the book of Ezekiel, not the one quoted in Pulp Fiction, but Ezekiel 1:4, there's a description of what's been called the Ezekiel ship. And I'll say, you want me to? I'll just skim it. Is that cool? There's a quick
Yeah,
one here.
Do what
absolutely.
you got to do.
All right,
Go
I'm
ahead,
reading to
Sam.
you. But anyway, this is Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 4 to 21. I looked and I saw a windstorm coming out of the north, an immense cloud with flashing lightning and surrounded by brilliant light. The center of the fire looked like glowing metal, and in the fire was what looked like 4 living creatures. In appearance, their form was human, but each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings. Their legs were straight. Their feet were like those of a calf and gleamed like burnished bronze. Under their wings on their 4 sides, they had human hands. The appearance of the living creatures was like burning coals of fire or like torches. Fire moved back and forth among the creatures. It was bright, and lightning flashed out of it. The creatures sped back and forth like flashes of lightning. As I looked at the living creatures, I saw a wheel on the ground beside each creature with its 4 faces. This was the appearance and structure of the wheels. They sparkled like topaz. All 4 looked alike. Each appeared to be made like a wheel intersecting a wheel. As they moved, they would go in any one of 4 directions the creatures faced. The wheels did not change direction as the creatures went. Their rims were high and awesome, and all 4 rims were full of eyes all around. When the living creatures moved, the wheels moved beside them. And when the living creatures rose from the ground, the wheels also rose. Wherever the spirit would go, they would go, and the wheels would rise along with them because the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. This is such a the Bible is full of parables, metaphors, all kinds of things. That is such a technical description of something that allegedly Ezekiel had witnessed. We know when Ezekiel lived. We know when he was preaching and doing his work. We know where roughly he was. It would be modern day Iraq. So we know all these sort of things. And all I could think of is if time travel were ever invented, it seems to me one of the highest priorities of a person of faith would be to go back and prove their faith real, right? Let me go
Sure.
back to a moment in the Bible and say, I saw it. Everything that I've been taught in my church, synagogue, mosque, whatever, is real because I went and I witnessed it. That would be such a high priority for a person of faith. So imagine you've got your complicated time machine and you roughly know where Ezekiel is and the time and everything else. And your ship comes down from the sky with its flaming rockets and you land and you're looking all around and you've got your spacesuits on because you don't want to contaminate with any bacteria that's old and you don't want to introduce any that you have. And you're looking all around and you and your other fellow, passengers in the ship are looking around and you see this guy on the hill, Ezekiel, looking at you and just writing everything down and interpreting it the best he possibly can. And that's when you go, oh no, I'm the Ezekiel ship. I better get out of here. Right. if you have never seen, yeah, like, oh no. And then you go back and you read the Bible. You're like, damn it. That was me. That's that. Ezekiel. It's a lot of people who believe in UFOs believe he was describing a spacecraft, right? Because if you have never seen anything man-made fly, that would be mind-blowing to see something with fire and a shield come down from the heavens and human-like figures moving around with some sort of transport device that lets them get around. And then they leave. And you're like, that must be from God. There's no other possible explanation to you, right? So you write it down using the best language you possibly can, wheels within wheels, fire, glowing shields. They must be angels because I can't fly. And you describe it. And there it is in the Bible. And so you start to wonder, is it possible that our religious texts, our folklore, our legends have little trails of time travelers, of someone who visited out of time, out of place, and made some sort of mark, and people did their best to interpret it?
Right, sure. That would explain, going by that theory, that would explain all of like the cave paintings or
Right.
early illustrations or descriptions of space people.
20,000-year-old cave paintings with like a human figure with like a dome over it, like a helmet, right?
Yeah.
Because yes, if you could go back in time 20,000 years, please, dear God, wear a spacesuit, right? Because you have no idea what viruses would introduce or would be introduced to you and be lethal. So of course you would want to protect them, which is also protecting you, right? Imagine you bring some new virus and you wipe out all of humanity before you were ever born.
You can't tell me that fashion is gonna, go out by the wayside in the future, and maybe it's just really cool outfits that we're after.
Just saying. Anyway, so I love this idea, the idea of being able to travel. Now, we know how to travel forward in time to the future. You just got to go really fast and get away from gravity. You don't even have to go light speed. But if you're aboard the International Space Station for like 100 years, you would gain literally almost a full second compared to someone on the ground.
Wow.
I know that's not going to cut it, right? We got to go faster than that. But if you could get, and as far as we know, you can't, light speed seems to be the universal speed limit because it takes infinite energy to accelerate anything with mass to light speed. But at that rate, time would appear to stop. And the best example of that I heard, I'll give you Einstein's example, right? So Einstein, he was so good at explaining things. He's like, imagine you're on a double-decker bus in London and you're sitting in the back of the bus and you just passed the clock, Big Ben, right? And you see the clock, and now the bus accelerates to light speed. But you still have a special, view in the back that lets you still see the clock, even though you're traveling at light speed. The clock will have appeared to stop because the light from the clock is moving at the same rate as you are.
Oh, okay.
But meanwhile, someone's standing on the ground next to Big Ben. It's still ticking away at the normal rate. But to you, the light from the clock never caught up. So you are going that fast. You're going so fast that if it's 10 past 10 in the morning, it still looks like 10 past 10. It doesn't move. But if you can stay like that for a year or so, many, many years will have passed here on Earth. And if you circle back, suddenly you will have aged about a year and everyone else will have aged like 60 years.
Yeah.
You can't go back though. That's just dilating time. We know how to do that. We already know how to do it. We know how to dilate time. And also time is not a force, right? Time's not a force in the universe. Gravity's a force.
Mhm.
Time is just a construct. 24 hours in a day, that's just here on Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you figure the Earth is spinning, like a little over 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, and going like 60,000 miles an hour around the sun, and like 400,000 miles an hour around the Milky Way, and like 2 million miles an hour, the Milky Way is spreading out from the center of the universe. Since we started this talk like 30 minutes ago, we have moved many, many millions of miles, right? In time and space. So how would we get back to just a half hour ago? Where is that point?
Superman.
It gets complicated. I know. It gets complicated. So the idea is that if there's infinite possibilities, those soap bubbles, some of them could be a week behind us, some could be a week ahead of us, and sometimes they're bumping into each other. And maybe those are our ghosts. Maybe we're seeing something. Maybe they're seeing us too. And then it's over. And we just get little breadcrumbs, little hints here and there.
Now, are those? Sorry, I totally.
No, go ahead.
As I continue, now are those like time slips?
Yes.
Is that the same kind of deal? Because I love those,
Yeah.
based solely on like 2 sightings of pterodactyls, I think in Yellowstone National Parks, because I'm obsessed with those parks.
Yeah.
But they had reports of pterodactyls, and that was one of the explanations. And I was like, do tell about this time slip.
When I started in all this, the first thing I did in 1999, I started a website called ghostvillage.com. And I just put a thing up saying, tell me about your ghost experiences. And over time, hundreds and hundreds and then thousands just grew over time as the message boards got busy and everything else. And I started to notice patterns with a lot of the ghost experiences. Most often it was someone got closure, right? They lost someone close to them. And a few weeks later, there was sort of a sighting, some sort of experience, and it was a closure experience. Then there was like the, like the stone tape theory, the idea that it's just a movie that plays over and over. I was finding very neat categories, boxes to put each and every one of these experiences in. I'm like, okay, I got a bunch of boxes. This one fits here. This one fits here. And then a guy named Jeff Belanger emailed me with an experience that didn't fit in any box. He had said, this took place in Boston. He's North Cambridge specifically. He said it was 1997 and him and his buddy wanted to play a game of tennis, and they heard there were some courts in this specific neighborhood. They couldn't quite find them, and they're driving around. They see a cop on the street corner, and they pulled up and they said the cop looked a little weird, like the uniform looked weird, but they pulled up and said, do you know where the tennis courts were? And the cop said, yeah, just, a block down there on the right. You're almost there. And they said, thanks. And they went the block down, and he parks the car. And he looks up, and there were 2 tennis courts, and there were all these people dressed in tennis whites playing tennis, like all in white. And they were thinking like how people do old time reenactment baseball, like the old gloves and stuff. Yeah. So he thought, oh, this must be like a reenactment group, but for tennis, this looks like 1930 or something. And so they're looking at the game and they're like, well, I guess we got to wait for a court. So they step out of the car, they shut the door, they look up again, and all the courts, all the people, everything disappears. And the courts are gone. There's no tennis courts. It's like there's a dumpster, there's the back of a building, there's, just some debris and things like that. And him and his buddy look at each other and say, what happened? We saw the tennis courts. We would learn from the historical commission, there were tennis courts there, and they were torn out in like the 1960s. So they'd been gone for decades.
Yeah.
And that was the whole experience. And I spoke to Jeff. I was like, I need to know more about this because this does not fall neatly into like other experiences. If anything, you were the ghost, Jeff. Like you were the thing out of place, and you stepped into a whole scene, and then the scene went away. And so a time slip, right? I think they stepped into another time.
Yeah.
It was not the most profound thing. It was just people playing tennis, but they saw it. They were in the scene, and then it was gone. And that would not be the last one I collected like that. But to me, they're few and far between, but they did come up enough that I was like, that's really wild. You were out of place. Not now, if you're in like an old building and there's a flat screen TV show and a movie and a woman in a Victorian dress floats by, she's out of place. The ghost is out of place. In this case, he was out of place.
So have you found any like ghost stories where because a lot of times they're written down or they're stored someplace. But in your research, have you found any ghost stories that kind of go like the reversed, right? Like experiences where people have been described wearing modern clothing or driving a modern car, but it was reported back in like 1800 or something.
So arguably our religious texts, when they describe sightings of angels and things like that, I don't know, right? That's open to interpretation. Something a little more in the UFO realm. You have probably heard of the Foo Fighters, and I don't mean the. So Dave Grohl's band is named after a World War II phenomena, and what was happening is pilots in World War II were seeing these balls of light. In fact, they were photographed. There's a couple of them, right? So they were seeing like these balls of light that were around aircraft over Germany, and they were seen by lots of people. It's not like one time. It was reported for years, and they didn't interfere. They were no threat, but they also made no sense. And it got to the point where they just called them Foo Fighters. It was seen by many pilots, allied and enemy alike. And you could say like, okay, well, they were all having the same delusion. But then I don't know if you remember this, but in 2004, a couple of Navy pilots went on 60 Minutes and talked about, and they showed something that their cameras on their fighter craft have captured off the coast of California. And it was like a tic-tac looking device. You may remember seeing that in the news, right?
Yeah, sure.
So when they went on 60 Minutes, they said that this tic-tac device dropped 80,000 feet in 1 second. And that's in our atmosphere. We don't have anything that can do that, right? That we don't have anything. And they were on TV in uniform, which tells me they weren't going rogue. They had permission from the highest level to do this and disclose this, because otherwise they never would have.
Right.
So they told our cameras and the American people, this isn't ours. We don't have anything that can do anything like this. And here it is. To me, the first thing I thought of was the Foo Fighters. The first thing I thought of was like World War II. They had stuff moving around some of our aircraft that were doing things and outmaneuvering them, but not really interfering either. No threat, no danger, didn't take anything out, just there.
Yeah.
And so they come up again. So part of me is just like, there's something there. There's something to it. Now, where does that little, they described it as a tic-tac that was about the size of like their F-16. Where does it come from? They said no smoke, no heat plume, no heat signature, no sign of an engine, but it was just moving freely through the atmosphere, any direction it wanted to, and at breakneck speed, at speeds that any human inside would be killed. To go 80,000 feet in 1 second would kill a human being, inside. So maybe it's a drone. I don't know. But anyway, so we've got these things that turn up in the 1940s. They're turning up in the last 20 years. And God knows where else they've been, but they just weren't documented properly, or we guessed at it, or we called it a spook light over a swamp. I don't know. Maybe someone saw a Foo Fighter and just, but they interpreted it differently.
Oh, I like that a lot.
So anyway, some thoughts. So to me, so time travel. Stephen Hawking, who was a pretty devout atheist, by the way, when asked about time travel, he came up with something called the chronology projection conjecture. And what that means is that time travel is absolutely possible, but the universe will not allow it to happen to keep historians safe, right? which basically means God would step in and say, no. You have figured it out. You cracked the code, but I cannot let this happen.
Right.
And one of the other things too, so one of the things with time travel, here's another thing to think about. If I have a time machine and you tell someone you can go back in time and do anything you want to do, what would you like to do? Almost the thing that comes up, it's a cliche now. I would go kill Hitler as a baby, right? I would go kill some evil world leader as a baby. So let's imagine we're going to send Tressa back on this mission. And Jeni and I are standing there at the door to the time machine. And we go, all right, Tressa, take all the time you need. For us, your trip is going to be 1 second. So you could take months if you want. We know where baby Hitler is. You wait for your moment. You can go kill a baby. It's all yours, right? And
Yeah.
so
Finally.
finally she gets her chance.
We're gonna have to like put the coordinates, like somehow staple them to her shirt, because Tressa's gonna go a little wild
We're gonna
in the
pop it right
past
into
for
the
a
nursery,
while.
right? Just do your thing and then come back. So we sit there and Jeni and I are like, all right, Tressa, you know your mission. You're gonna kill baby Hitler, one of the most evil people ever. You're gonna save millions and millions of lives, maybe tens of millions. If World War II doesn't happen, this is gonna be incredible. You're gonna change everything for the better. And so Tressa goes, I'm on it. And she goes through the thing, whoop, and 1 second later, she's back. Doesn't matter how long it took her while she was there,
Yeah.
right? Because for us, it's 1
Yeah.
second. And she comes back and she's like, all right, I did it. I killed Hitler. And then Jeni and I look at Tressa and go, who?
Right.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about? You killed a baby? Why did you do that? Oh my God.
No, but this baby was evil, you guys.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
He-
I don't know
No,
why
but
you're
it's
pretending
fine.
like we'd be shocked.
You
but-
told me to kill him. It was your
Who did tell you
order.
to kill a baby? Who'd you kill?
You did. You
Yeah.
told me to.
Oh my God. Why would you
You
kill a
gave
baby?
me the knife.
Who's
I didn't
Hitler?
do that.
Who is Adolf Hitler? I've never heard of him.
Oh my God.
I know.
You do this every time.
This is where we would be. This is exactly the argument that would be going down. Would
I don't
Hitler get
understand why you
sucked out
would
of our
even be-
memories?
would even be arguing with her, because of course she's going to kill a baby. Come on.
Yes. I killed 4 babies just to make sure. Yeah.
You don't know. Sometimes
heard it was
they
really
were
good
switched
for
at the
the skin.
hospital.
Yeah, right. So you just took care of the whole maternity ward.
Mm,
So
That's
so anyway, so there's a question, right? And the answer, of course, goes back to the grandfather or grandmother paradox.
Mhm.
She killed Hitler. And in our timeline, it would actually be unaffected. It wouldn't have mattered. It's just in a different timeline, there never would have been a Hitler. And maybe there would have been someone infinitely worse, right? We don't know. But in our timeline, it couldn't have been affected because our memories are our
happened.
memories.
Right. Yeah,
I know. It's a head scratcher.
it is. There's
I'm just trying to think of other babies that could be killed and benefit us in our
Well,
time.
right. No, of
That's-
course. The list has expanded beyond Hitler these days. So
Yeah.
Yeah, valid point.
all right, here's something else that I did that I'll give away. This was in the Shadow Zine anyway. So my buddy Frank, I asked him to meet me specifically in Fall River, Massachusetts, at this place called Battleship Cove, where they've got battleships there on display as like a museum. And there's the picture we
Mhm.
took.
Okay.
And I'm holding a sign, and this is an important part of the story. It says, welcome time traveler from the future. Today is Tuesday, January 13th, 2026 at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And so I put it in the zine, and I've asked people to save this. Don't throw it away. Keep it. Pass it on to your children and your children's children. And my hope is that if it survives for like thousands of years, someday a time traveler would see it and go, I'm going to go meet him. And so at noon, Frank and I are looking around, feeling a little foolish because I'm holding this sign as people are walking by on the boardwalk.
Sure.
And I'm just like, all right, well, because it was like 11:58. We had the shot all set up. I'm like, we got to wait 2 more minutes because, time.
Yeah.
Accuracy.
And so right at noon, Frank clicks the picture. And I'll tell you this, there was this old guy. There was lots of people walking by, but one guy sort of stopped and looked at us and he just went, paparazzi, huh? And we were like, yeah, sure.
Mhm.
Anyway, was that the time traveler? I don't know. Was the time traveler on the hill, like watching from afar and going, there he is? I don't know.
What if he was just shy and was going to say something, but then got nervous?
That's all possibilities, right? All possibilities. It's also possible that time travel is not possible, or I'm not the chosen one for them to come visit, right?
All right.
Like,
They just didn't see that. They never
Yes.
saw that photo. So how would they know?
but that's totally possible. It's possible that the zine doesn't survive to the point in the future where time travel becomes possible. One of the other theories, and this is by a professor at UConn, is that time travel is possible. And if you built a time travel machine, the farthest back in time you could go is to the very second that the machine became viable. Because
Oh,
now the time machine is in the universe. It is not in the universe today, but if it gets into the universe 100 years from now, That's as far back as you can go, that point in time.
So what you're saying is that we all need to build time machines right
Yes.
now.
Good ones, though.
Right.
Not just weird clocks.
And then we start really messing with things. Okay, so now if we really want to get metaphysical, something that is instantaneous, arguably faster than light, is human consciousness.
Mhm.
So if our consciousness can be faster than light, if we can sort of, if you think of space-time is really it's like fabric, and that's what's around us all the time, right? It's actually something called space-time. And if you think about it, we even use space-time terminology all the time. Like if I said to you, hey, where's the best pizza place in town? And you said it's 15 minutes down the road. I asked you a question in distance and you answered me in time.
Right.
I knew what you meant. It means if we get in the car in 15 minutes, we'll be at the pizza place. That's space-time. Like that's the fabric, right? So if you think about it as like this sort of like fabric-y thing, can it sort of hit itself? And we know it can, because a few years back, two galaxies collided. I don't know if you remember this astronomical event, but two galaxies collided. It was a huge thing, and it was actually measured here on Earth as like a ripple. The example would be, imagine that we're standing on opposite ends of a very still pond, and you're at the far end and I'm on the other end, and I'm holding a boulder, and I take the boulder and I drop it right in the water in front of me. Right there's going to be a huge, violent splash. That was the two galaxies colliding. Violent splash, water going this way and that way. You on the far end of the pond, ripples will probably get to you, but they'll be teeny tiny by the time they cross the entire pond. And that's a teeny tiny ripple in space-time. If you're very close to the explosive drop of the boulder, then a wave could go this way, a wave yesterday could be tomorrow could be yesterday. Like everything is collapsing on itself, but those ripples can affect. And so if we're close enough to one of those astronomical events, then God knows, right? God knows what would happen to our timeline. And one of the other reasons that we sort of accept this whole cause and effect of time is, like, if you've ever dropped a wine glass, which I know Tressa's never done, because
why would
No,
I
she
do
throws
that? Hold
them.
on to it to
Yeah.
dear
Throws them.
life and then throw them.
Yeah.
You've seen a wine glass shatter into a million pieces. You've never in your life seen a wine glass broken come back together again, right? So and that's the state of the universe. It's going from an ordered state to a disordered state, just falling apart all around us. And that's the nature of things. But if time could ripple, then that wine glass could come back together again. It could reform, and then we're really in trouble, because we don't know what time dinner is at that point.
That's the worst.
I know.
No, that's
terrifying.
Listen, okay, all right, I'm with you on all these concepts, but I don't mess with dinner. Okay.
Yeah, no, I know. I agree with you. So
Terrible. Come on, man.
So that's the idea, right? We don't fully understand time. We know it's a construct. We know we need it. And arguably, the longer we've come along in human civilization, the more we've enslaved ourselves to a literal concept.
Sure.
Before 12,000 years ago, when we were hunting and gathering, you were just thinking about your next meal, your personal safety, make it till tomorrow, survive, procreate. That was it. That was all you had to do. When we decided to farm, they've said farming is the greatest innovation in human history. And I won't argue with the farmers, but on the very heels of farming would have to be timekeeping, right? Because if you're going to be a successful farmer, you're going to have to learn to plant at the right time, harvest at the right time, all that stuff. If we're going to stay put, if we're going to now, create a society where we don't have to keep migrating, where someone can grow the food and you can take care of like educating and learning new things, and you can learn medicine and you can build iPhones and wheels and clothes and all that other stuff. If that's going to work, we have to be meticulous about when and how we farm.
Right.
And as we got further and further in time, now we needed to keep track of the days, because now we've got occupations. And then when the trains came along, we needed standard time. When it's noon in Boston, it is not noon in New York City, right? I mean, solar high noon is about 12 minutes difference. And that's just Boston and New York, which isn't that far. So suddenly we needed time zones, because the trains were moving between time zones. And then once there's planes and everything else, now we're down to milliseconds. We are down to just absolute milliseconds, and we've enslaved ourselves to something that is not a force. It's just purely a concept. So can we move around in it is the big question.
Yeah.
And I think with our consciousness, that happens all the time. I think some of these paranormal occurrences are examples of possible time interactions, time slips, time travel, time bumps, whatever word you want to use, multiverses bumping into each other. Uh, and that would explain all of it, because everybody that's witnessed this stuff, they're not lying, right? Hey, I was in the
Yeah.
woods, I saw this 8-foot tall hairy creature walk by. I was in a lake and I saw this dinosaur-like thing pop up, but it was gone.
Yeah.
It's gone because it went back to its universe. You can take
Yeah.
sonar down there, but it's not there now. It was, but it's not now.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yes.
I like that idea a lot. Like, and the consciousness too. Now, are we talking about, because I know that it's occasionally referenced in this, but are we talking about like transcendental, like meditation kind of scenario where you are moving around your consciousness depending on how deeply you go into that trance?
Maybe. I don't do that, right? I'd be
No.
curious to try it, because if you could you project yourself? One of the other things that, and I know you've been to enough haunted places now too, you understand this. For a place I come back to a lot here in Massachusetts, we've got the Lizzie Borden house,
Mhm.
where 2 people were murdered. No one was ever punished for it back in the 1890s. When you go there today, they have meticulously decorated this house to look exactly as it did at the time of the murder, right? So you've got the couch that looks exactly like the couch Andrew Borden was murdered on. You've got wallpaper that looks exactly like the wallpaper that was there. When you step into that environment and you know what happened, your consciousness is suddenly like, oh, I can imagine what this must have looked like. It's not a stretch. It's not a stretch at all. I am here. I'm in the place. It looks like it did. There's not a lot of like technology around that. It's meant to look old timey. And I wonder if that's why maybe people are more prone to ghost experiences. If you redecorated that whole place with very modern furnishings and said, well, yeah, this is the Borden house, that's where it happened, I still think people would have paranormal experiences, but I think they would be a lot less. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
it doesn't look the part anymore.
Right.
I think that speaks to how single-minded people can be. I'm not discounting what you're saying at all. I'm just saying,
Oh,
like,
sure.
it's hard to put yourself in that situation unless you're in that situation for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. And also too, like, why is it, we've talked about this, at events we've been to and stuff like that. Why is it we're at some haunted place and someone's like, oh my God, my grandmother's coming through right now.
Mhm.
And you're like, oh, did your grandmother work here or whatever? And you're like, no, she's never even been in this state. And you go, well, what's that about?
Yeah.
And what's that about is that you're probably in a place that has this reputation, and suddenly you're opening yourself up to something that might be around you all the time. But now you're conscious of it because you're in a very haunted, spooky place and it's night and it's dark and you're scared and you're like, you're looking for ghosts, and you found one. You found grandma who had no
Yeah.
connection
Right.
whatsoever to the place, the state, the town, anything. But suddenly you're connecting to it because of what your mental state is right now. So if our consciousness could be controlled, which super hard for me to do because I'm scatterbrained all the time,
Mm.
could I put myself into a different time or place and literally be there and experience it? And even if I could, would you believe me? You know what I mean?
Right. That's the bottom line, because
Yeah.
you can believe it all you want. You can feel it, you can experience. But is anyone going to believe anything that
One
you
more
can
quick story here.
experience?
So I interviewed a
Please.
guy named Andrew Bashago who claimed he was part of a time travel thing with Project DARPA. He was on Darkness Radio years ago, which is how I found him. Dave Schrader connected me to him, and I interviewed him for hours. He claims he was actively involved in this time travel program, and as a gift for being a good participant, they let him go back to the Gettysburg Address and witness Lincoln give the Gettysburg Address in Gettysburg. Now, here's the important part of the story. There's an old photo in the Library of Congress. I've seen it. I have it. It's the only known photo of Lincoln at the Gettysburg Address. There's a big crowd of people. There's a teeny tiny like top hat way in the distance that, is very likely Lincoln. But in the very foreground, there's this boy, maybe 10, 12 years old, with this blurry face because he's in motion. And back then, shutter speeds were very, very slow. So unless you were rock solid, it's there's a little bit of a blur. Andrew says, that's me as a boy. I'm in the photo. That's me. And that's when I got into it with him. Now, I'll say on the record, I was not capable of believing him. He tells a very compelling story. I couldn't get there for me.
Yeah.
But here's the part I brought up to him. And I said, all right, that photo's been in existence since 1863, right? Like that photo's been around since they took it when Lincoln gave the address. That photo existed when you were born. The day you were born, that photo existed. And he's like, yes. And I'm like, that means you don't have free will. Right? You literally had to go back in time. You had to be in that photo. You had no choice whatsoever. And you had to do it around that age 10 or 12. You had no free will. He disagreed with me.
Every action would have led him to the place. Every choice that he made throughout his life would have led him to the place where he was offered the opportunity to go back to that place to have that photo taken. Okay.
But he had to do it because the photo existed when he was a baby.
Right.
He had no free will. He had to do it.
None whatsoever.
If we don't have free will, there is no point in living, I think.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. That's central in every...
Tressa, you doing all right?
No. It's fully not what this episode is about. But
where did we go wrong?
No, you didn't. You went all right.
Yeah.
All right.
But if, let's say, okay, this and this isn't even what you're talking about, but soul contracts. There's a guideline. There's an outline. Your soul is here to do a specific thing, and you might go off on different tracks here or there, but you eventually get pulled back to the one thing. So yeah, you don't have free will, but you do, but it's just there's a very specific outline. But it still hurts my head. You know what? I'm just throwing stuff out there. And
yeah. No, it's fine. You don't need to agree with me at all, ever. It's all
no,
good.
I do is what I'm saying. I fully like.
I think free will is the most important part of the human experience.
Yes.
I must choose to live in a way that keeps me out of jail, that keeps me with the friendships I want to have or the relationships that I want to have. If I don't have that free will, if I feel like something's just destined and I have no choice, then what's the point? Why would I get up tomorrow?
Right.
You know, if everything has to be predetermined. So anyway, that's where Andrew Bashago lost me when I said you either lack free will, which is a huge problem, or that wasn't you in the photo, which is what I personally believe. But you know, I can't.
The other thing I don't understand about that story, because I've not heard this story before.
Okay.
He was given this gift of, hey, you get to go see Lincoln. He was a child when they gave him this gift?
He was a child involved in Project DARPA's time travel program, and he was running these missions that he described going through the time tunnel and how he would step into this chamber that would fill with this smoke, and all of a sudden he's like falling through time and space, and he would wake up and he would have to like blend in. He would have to wear clothes. He would be dressed for the part before he got there, and he never fully described how he got back, which was confusing to me. I understand sort of getting dropped in, but how do you get back? But anyway, so that was there were some holes in the story, but whatever. But I still adore the discussions and the debates that it brings up.
Absolutely.
The notion, right? That if it's so okay. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, one of my favorite time travel movies ever. My favorite scene in the movie involves no special effects or CGI whatsoever. You've seen it, right? I assume it's Bill and Ted's.
No, I'm too young.
Oh my God. No, you're not. So
not at all.
There's a scene in the movie where all the historic figures got arrested in the mall for causing a riot, and they're all in jail, right? Where Ted's dad is the police captain or whatever. And they're outside of the jail. They're like, we got to break our buddies out. We got to break these historical figures out. can you steal your dad's keys? And he's like, no, my dad's keys have been missing for 2 days. They established that early in the movie. And he's like, but we have a time machine. So what we can do is after the program's done, we can go back in time to when your dad did have the keys. We can steal them and put them right behind this sign here, this police sign, which means when we come here right now, they should be here. And then they bend over and they pick up the keys. And they're like, excellent. And then they go in and they break their buddies out. The problem is they just lost free will. They have to do it.
Right.
They have no choice. They can't be like, oh, we got what we needed. The program's done. Who cares about the keys? They have to do it or it couldn't have happened.
Right.
And so they've lost free will, or it's a paradox, right? So anyway.
I really like that you are framing this as in not having free will instead of I'm going to make all these plans, because no one talks about it like that. And it's, I think, a huge part of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I love this subject because of the mental calisthenics it makes you do, right?
Sure.
It makes you
Absolutely.
think about like, well, what does it mean? What is time? How are we remembered? What's the nature of the paranormal? I believe in it. I've had experiences I can't explain. I use the word ghost. I use the word UFO, right? That's it. What I have, that's in my lexicon. But maybe it's more complicated than that. And maybe it's something that's happening. Well, it's obviously not just me. It's not just, us. There's lots of people that are having these experiences.
Yeah.
And they're just like, look, this is what I saw. That's all I can tell you. And then what does it mean? It's left to all of us to interpret it.
I think that these conversations are what is especially intriguing about the paranormal, because it's all open, because we don't know anything. Well, we don't know much 100% for fact. So just thinking about it is kind of cool and sort of unlocks those windows in your brain.
Yeah.
That you then get to look in a different direction, right?
Ask the big questions. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
So
like
we
it.
are so past the hour, and we should wrap this up. But
Okay.
tell us the things you want to plug.
Yes, please.
Yeah. Well, so Shadow Zine, it's been really fun. So I started in all this in zines back in the 90s. And so I'm the editor, writer, producer, publisher, distributor, mailing guy, and janitor of Shadow Zine. So it's shadowzine.com. We've done 11 now. Dave Schrader did one on Minnesota UFO sighting, which was really cool. So there's different authors. And if you go to shadowzine.com, you can see all the various issues. You can buy a couple of them, all of them, just one, whatever you want. And I love the idea of print. There's no AI. Everything is all original work. And it's sort of my revolt against like AI and digital everything. It's old school analog.
Beautiful.
You hold it, you read it. It doesn't need batteries. You can take it to the beach.
No batteries, huh?
No, none. I believe in print again. I believe in print and books and old school analog stuff, because I think that's just the direction I'm drawn to. Call me old fashioned, I don't care, but I love that it's like a comic book for an adult. So that's something I'm super excited about. And otherwise, I'm still super busy. I'm working on books, and I'm doing my story tours still going. You can find them all on my website, jeffbelanger.com, and my podcast, New England Legends, is still going every week. So still thrilled to be exploring this subject now that it's been pushed back down into the underground, which is where it started.
Yeah.
Kinda like
Valid
it that
point.
way.
Please
But
stick around for
also-
a second after the show so we can say thank you again.
Sure.
It's good to say that. And one of the writers who wrote an issue of your zine is Farla Ventura,
Yes.
who will be
we love
on our
her.
show in a couple of weeks.
She's the best. She did such a cool
is.
zine on the it's a novel written, Jap Heron, written allegedly by Mark Twain through a Ouija board.
Oh,
Oh,
So good. It's so
Fantastic.
good. She's such a great writer too. She's awesome.
she is.
yeah, she is.
She's fantastic.
We'll put all of your links to all those things in the show notes so people can go there and do the link thing and stuff. And Jeff, such a pleasure to have you on. Such a
real
great
delight.
storyteller.
Good seeing you again.
And thank you so much. Hey. Everybody else, hey, go check out our website. You can find our merch, and you can email us and stuff, and just say hi. But so until next time, thanks for visiting the Monsters Lab.